So I'm back with my 3-week postpartum update. This time we have our little guest here, which is my baby. I went ahead and strapped him on so that way I can get this done because once again, this child is a Velcro baby and will not let me get this done. So you may hear some grunts, whines, and all the above within this video. But I wanted to go ahead and try to keep up the balance of doing something for myself. And so I figured that, skincare was the easiest thing. So we're going to start off with this cleansing oil, which is from Hurahu Wonder. So the first thing I want to talk about is, I remember that my last update that I was telling you guys that I figured that I needed some therapy sessions due to just my feelings of postpartum, which is typically PPD. And so I'm happy to announce that I did end up getting my first therapy session, which was really just a consultation to get an idea if this was a therapist that I wanted to go with. And something that was really important to me for a therapist was somebody who had already worked with postpartum depression patients and who was also a Black woman. So I ended up getting that in my therapist, and she really just walked me through kind of what her scope of work was and try to get an idea of what I was really struggling with. So that really went well. And I look forward to continuing to go bi-weekly. So that's the first thing that I think was a really big win is, if you're having those types of feelings, like it is okay to have those types of feelings, but just to go ahead and try to get some help for them. So happy to say I did do that. So second thing I really wanted to work on in terms of the second week was trying to get an idea of like what his wake windows were and what was the big stressor and trigger for me in terms of sleep. So we did end up finding out something about a witching hour, which I don't even remember my first son ever having them, but it's essentially just a time where your child typically is a little bit more fussier than normal. And during that time for us was typically around 10 to 11 was when he just would fuss. And it wouldn't matter what we did. He just continued to scream at the top of his lungs. And so we have been experimenting with how to get through that in a healthy way and making sure that we are protecting our own mental health on top of Koa's. And so far what we have found is just really sitting in a dark room, maybe an hour or two before his like real bedtime to kind of get him to calm. So far has been working. So we're continuing to get through things, but did want to say that if you are going through that with your little one. And then also in this third week, like I really had to come to terms with the idea of what I thought breastfeeding would look like for me. My goal was to exclusively breastfeed Koa, meaning putting him to the breast, not even using the bottles for the first 3 weeks of life. And unfortunately that did not happen. And for me, I really felt like a failure because that was the same thing that happened with Kai. And so I had to really just reflect on the fact and try to find the silver lining per se in that. And the silver lining I did find in, grieving this idea of breastfeeding is that he'll be able to take a bottle. So if he needs to go to someone else, he can. And I will say, luckily, for the first 2 weeks, he really did not latch well at all. But in this third week, I was able to get him to latch successfully a few days in the week. So there was a positive into kind of this process, but now I'm just having to be okay with it not being ideally how I wanted it to be. And that's okay. It's not ideal, but it's okay. There's a positive to it. So that's what I'm trying to find. And then I did go to the doctor this week for my 3-week update with her. I did talk to her about PPD and everything. In addition to pelvic floor therapy, which I actually have an appointment next week for, which I'm really excited. And then I also have had a conversation with her because I have a hernia due to carrying him that I need to talk to a general surgeon about. So those are just a few of the things kind of that we spoke about that I'm kind of excited about because I feel like Homeboy did a job on my body this time around. And so I need to make sure that I'm taking care of myself and getting assessed for all the things that I feel like I may need. As well, when I did go into the doctor, I was really hoping that my BP wasn't elevated still. It is. So it's not super high by any means, but it's still more elevated than it ever was in my pregnancy. So I'm continuing my blood pressure meds to just try to keep it controlled as much as possible. I'm really hoping by the time I'm 6 weeks that I can be off of it. But as of now, I'm still currently on it. And part of it's my fault, to be honest, because I wasn't taking it like I was supposed to, because I really assumed that it would be gone. But that's my fault. Oh, and that was what I was using, this Haru Wonder Black Rice Cleanser. It's really soft and supple on the skin, which is what I like. And also, I would just say in the 3rd week, I have just really come to the fact that, you know, overall, it's just okay to feel the feelings, and try to not compare my first pregnancy as much to this one. I think sometimes if you're not careful, it can result in you having more comparisons, you know, to your children, or negative feelings towards one child versus another. And so I'm trying and doing my best to keep that in check, because I love my boys equally, even though this pregnancy has been a lot more difficult. I don't want that to ever be something that they can feel at some point because of my experience. So that was the Tear Skin Milk Toner. And then I'm going to go ahead and use this hyaluronic acid from Good Molecules. Because I know a lot of times parents really go and compare their babies oftentimes. And I feel like nobody likes to be compared. I would not like to be compared. So I am getting rid of that thought process and really trying to take on the glass is half full mentality. So even though I'm not getting sleep, I'm thankful for that time, because it allows me to spend time in God's word, which has really been very, very helpful to me in this journey. And so I will say that's the silver lining of waking up. And then something on TikTok that I saw, I'm not sure how true it is, but they say like those wake hours too are a way of the baby kind of avoiding SIDS, which, you know, is sudden infant death syndrome. So if that helps him to not go through that syndrome, which I actually have experienced with a family member's child, then so be it. But yeah, that is my update so far. The skin is looking like something. And this is just a mama trying to take care of herself. This is your reminder to take care of yourself, even if you got to strap your baby in to get it done. And I will see y'all in a week for week 4.